Okay, Hawkeye episode 3 was, really, it feels different than the 2 episodes we got last week.
Wait, sorry, let me do that again. Hawkeye episode 3 was something different. Really, it feels different than the 2 episodes we got last week, because now we really see the plot shaping up and there's no more laying the groundwork. Half of this episode is pretty action-packed, something I wasn't really prepared for, or need I say, expecting. I kinda anticipated a more low-budget feel for this show for the majority of the season, and then maybe end it with 1 or 2 action scenes, but nope, here we go, folks. Strap in. Hi, fellow Disney Plus watchers, this is Thoughts After Disney Plus Watch, and I'm glad you're watching the channel that's all about Disney Plus movies and TV shows. So just fair warning here before we start, I do want to discuss spoilers to really do this episode justice, got it? So you can press that watch later button if you haven't seen Hawkeye episode 3 yet. Still here? Awesome. Okay, so a lot of us, maybe most of us, know that at some point in the future we are getting an Echo show. Look, it's right here on Marvel Studios' website. When this episode started, it only took me 2 seconds to figure out, oh, okay, so this is what you're doing. Nice. We get this flashback of Echo as a kid, so we kind of get her motivation for being in this story, and it's more heartfelt than I was ready for, actually. It's got this intimate nature, the sign language, and the fact that they were using the quiet experiences of Echo. It really made me appreciate the character rather quickly. I do think, however, that this opening scene of Maya as a deaf person dealing with the world around her is so good of a story in its own right that her getting another spin-off show makes me wondering. Really, I just want to compliment this one episode of Hawkeye for making me truly get behind this character just like that, so that makes the need for her own show all the more questionable. I think I would rather have a totally different show about a new character in its place, because we get her origin story right here, her motivations for why she's doing what she's doing, you know, taking revenge on Ronin who killed her father. We all get that in this one episode, and she works great as a supporting character, but it is what it is. I would love for this show to have Hawkeye somehow have to deal operating without his hearing again in the season, because this scene where Clint calls with his son is my favorite scene of the show so far. I know it would have to make sense for the story, but I love what it adds to the character of Clint Barton, just for the same reason it does so much for the villain character Maya, or Echo if you will. Again, the word I want to give it is intimate. So far at least, it's such few and far between that Clint and Kate share a sincere moment. They're always bickering, but here Kate's there to help him communicate with his family, even though what she has to tell him is pretty harsh. It's okay that you can't be home for Christmas. That hit me. His absence is starting to make his son indifferent. He's starting to get used to it, his son and get over the idea that his father isn't there. There's so much conflict packed into that sentence. I love it. And what I also appreciate here is that we as an audience only find out what he's saying because of Kate's notes. Again, really hitting home the intimacy of the character. We're in Clint's shoes here, and it's good filmmaking, man. It's good filmmaking. What I really appreciated about the 2 consecutive action sequences in the first half of the episode is that especially the first one in the gym is really creative and it makes great use of objects and surroundings and just has a lot of fun. The ball pit, the shopping carts, this action scene was really dynamic and playful. Playful is a good word for it. Much better, by the way, than the little action bits we got in the previous 2 episodes, and filmed in such an exciting way. I don't know why, but I burst out into laughing when Clint apologized to the Santa pop-up street doll thing. By the way, I don't even know what those things are called. I truly don't know. Please tell me in the comments if you'd be so kind. Thanks. And they just ride over that and he pops back up with that big stupid smile of his. I don't know, it's my kind of silly humor, I guess. Love that this chase scene started with one long shot of the camera just going back and forth between the main characters and the tracksuit mafia chasing them. Good way to ease us into this action scene and make everything so easy to follow while still being exciting. But yeah, all the different arrows with different powers are silly. They don't really make sense, I know. You know what is funny? During this scene, I started associating this playful way of doing action and set pieces with the Ant-Man movies, and maybe you did too. It really brought me back to those films, and only one mere minute later after I realized this all felt like Ant-Man. Clint grabs an arrow with the word Pym on it, and that's the moment where I went, oh, here we go. Now it's Ant-Man, alright. If I do have one, or no, maybe 2 flaws with this episode, is that some of the banter between Clint and Kate at the beginning of the episode felt a bit phoned in. I guess it was the script, what they bickered about. It didn't exactly feel right. But the rest of the episode was on point. Like the scene between the two of them on the train where Clint repeats to Kate that they have to walk the dog because he couldn't at all hear that Kate was saying like 10 seconds earlier the exact same thing. That was a funny scene right there. I laughed a lot during this episode. I don't know about you, but I laughed more than I do with a lot of Marvel movies that are more than twice the runtime. It was packed with comedy. But yeah, the other flaw I noticed within the episode was that sometimes the green screen was a bit noticeable and the smaller budgets shine through. I'm still amazed at how much budget these shows are getting, but in a shot like this one right here, there's something off with the lighting and tracking. It just wasn't really convincing. I pretty much love the episode. Aside from these small nitpicks, I was really on board. I laughed a lot. The use of sign language and, the muting the sound to really get us inside the head of these characters. The acting's great. The story is interesting. And this Ronin persona chasing both characters is a good dynamic. With last week's 2 episodes, I was like, okay, well, enjoyed it. It's fine. 1 in a million shows, but still good. Now I'm eager, right? Eager to find out about the murder, how the Ronin costume got in the hands of these criminals, who the final boss is. A lot of folks talk about Kingpin, but that's just a rumor. I'm excited for next week. I'm thinking about wrapping this up. Thank you so much for watching. I'm curious, what did you think of this 3rd episode? Be sure to let me know in the comment section. Don't forget, if you enjoy the idea of discussing Disney Plus content with us, that red button looks familiar, right? And if you're interested in thoughts on previous episodes, it's all in the description, or you can browse the channel page. Did you like this video? Then be sure to consider giving that a click. Thanks. For now, have a wonderful day and see ya.